Hello and welcome to Atomic Facepalm. I am Chris.
And I'm Bre.
And today on Played in Full, we review The Walking Dead, a Telltale series, A New Frontier, Part 3, the second one, DLC version and a half. So, The Walking Dead. Probably you have seen the show, maybe read the comic books that the show is based off of. A little while ago, around 2010, 2011-ish, I'd have to do my history, which is becoming a theme. Chris doesn't do any research.
2012.
Okay, there you go. It was close. The Walking Dead, a Telltale series came out, the first one. And that was kind of when Telltale was in its infancy as far as how its games were going. It was kind of new and unique, and it came out in episodes, point-and-click adventure game with cel-shaded graphics. It was called The Walking Dead, but it was very loosely based off the book and comic book. It used kind of the series context and just kind of went its own direction, which was great. I had no problem with that. It was probably better for it. So season 1 came out, and it had a bunch of little individual episodes that you could purchase individually. And then season 2 came out a little while later, and then it continued the story, but this time from the perspective of Clementine, which is like a 6-year-old little girl. Quite the shift in the second series, playing as a tiny little vulnerable girl who didn't do a whole lot. She was more just the emotional catalyst. So that also had episodes very much like the first one. Very much the same gameplay, slightly updated graphics. I believe it released on consoles as well as the PC.
I think it released on everything that can hold a screen.
Yeah, and that kind of makes sense. It's a game like Darkest Dungeon, a lot of other games that doesn't require a lot of hardware. You can play it with a mouse and keyboard or a controller, no problem. Either one is fine. No differences. So I played through Season 1 and Season 2. You did not.
Nope. I played like, I'd say 10-15 minutes of Season 1.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say about 10 minutes.
So it was a while ago. Back when Atomic Facepalm was very, very young, we actually started a podcast back then, and a bunch of us adored Season 1. I think it was almost a unanimous game of the year for us. It was that damn good. Again, a lot has changed since that occurred. Video games have grown, maybe regressed, depending how you look at them. So the newest Walking Dead is pretty much the exact same damn game. As far as point and click, there's episodes to go through, and same kind of graphics. Okay. So again, providing a little backstory, Season 1 had a lot of emotional depth, I felt like, and a lot of character development. And it was written by very good authors. You could tell these people had a lot of experience writing believable characters, writing believable conflict and tension, and writing what's very difficult to do, which is kind of a choose-your-own-adventure story arc, right? Which kind of branches out, and depending on the little choices you make, the story can get vastly different. And they actually connected Season 1 to Season 2 very well. One of my biggest complaints, which we'll get into in a minute, they don't do jack shit with that in the third season, or whatever we're calling it. A New Horizon Hope,
Season
A New
3.
Hope,
it's
Episode
the third
6.
season,
Yeah,
but new guy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my overall background with it. Wasn't the worst game ever.
So just throw my stuff out there. I did not like it. I don't think I really am a fan of the series anyways. So I played about 10 minutes of that first game, and it doesn't do it for me. And I do like adventure games. It seems to be that this, I don't know. It's a little simple, and so the gameplay is either, and I think almost everybody's played a Telltale series game at this point, whether
probably.
It's a Walking Dead or Game of Thrones or Batman or whatever IP they're going to cover.
CSI.
I'm not
CSI.
Kidding.
I don't know if that really is one. Probably is.
It is. CSI, Back to the Future,
fucking
Jurassic
serious? It really
Park,
is?
Sam and Max,
made
Wallace
that
and
shit up.
Gromit, and soon to come, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my god.
To me, my issue is this: there's lots of games that this is yeah, and especially where it's each season has 5 different parts released about over an 8 or 9 month period.
Yeah.
You pay for each one, or you buy a season pass, which was thrown in your face quite often. Buy the season pass. Buy the season pass.
Season pass. Buy it. Do it.
In between episodes, buy a season pass. I'm like,
It's fun. It'll add to your overall enjoyment.
But what you have for gameplay is you choose, you listen to the story, so you're kind of inactive watching the story, and then you get to choose between 4 choices. One of them usually remain silent.
Which is stupid that's even a choice. But.
Well, I used it sometimes. I tried to role play my guy, and I used silence sometimes because I was like, I don't want to say any of those things, so I'll be quiet.
Okay.
And then the other part of the gameplay is sometimes you get to move around, which I really disliked. Like, if you're going to do the story thing, do the story thing. But when I was moving around, it felt really clunky. I was not sure where my boundary was until I ran into an invisible wall.
The camera is atrocious.
Camera's atrocious, and then there's different items where you can click on them, and it's like, if the only item on the screen is a door, why are you asking me whether I want to open it or not? Of course I want to open it. Yes, open the door, let's go.
It's an artificial way to extend the gameplay.
And then the other thing that happens is quick play events or quick time events or whatever.
Which this game is filled with.
Which I would say is like a jump scare in a horror movie. It's like
about a bad one at that.
Yeah, just it has that amount of depth. Sure, once or twice, great, okay, you got me, haha. But after a while, it's like, yes, I know the zombie's gonna come out. Yes, I'm gonna bash on button E until he stops. It just is not a gameplay thing that I'm enjoying.
So here, I know you only played 15 minutes of the first one. That shit was rare in the first 2 seasons.
Well, that's where I stopped. Is when I was like out back and near a lawnmower maybe, and a zombie popped up through events, and then I had to I didn't understand what I was supposed to be, quick hitting, and I was like, I don't want to. I hate those. I really hate those.
And again, I get you, and I think a lot of people do. And back in 2012, it was there. You had your God of Wars, you had your Dante's Infernos, where quick time events and hitting the buttons at the right time were a thing. But it was more accepted back then, I feel like. It was just more, it's almost like roguelike now is the new thing that's in. Back then, hitting buttons at random times was in.
I've seen it done, sometimes if it's used sparingly, like there was one of the newer Tomb Raiders where she falls down a waterfall or something, and you have to quickly do something. And that made sense, because the rest of the time during the game, you're very interactive, moving your character. But this is something sudden that happened. So suddenly hitting a button makes sense. But when I've only been interacting with a story, to suddenly now you gotta mash E and dodge, and we're shooting, and then back to story mode. I don't. It needs to understand what it is. Be a game. Be a story thing. Be one or the other. Do better at both.
And that's what season 1 and 2 did very well. The problem for me, like you're pointing at, is if you're gonna make it a comic book that you're just interacting with and playing through, better be a damn good story.
Yes, and that's what I was kind of expecting, was a good story.
Me too.
I felt like it was forced drama. This one, I guess, it doesn't matter so much for me because I know who Clementine is from the other episodes. But for this, it is a new character. So maybe for some people that have, really been enjoying Clementine, maybe this is too jarring to suddenly come into this character that you... And how you're introduced to the character is just like sudden brawl with your brother, and you're like, well, I don't know who this guy is, or does he care about his brother? Has his brother always been a jerk to him? I didn't know how to role play that character, so I just had to kind of make Mr. Blank guy into a character that I wanted him to be, or I thought he should be.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with that, and then it was really kind of cheesy soap opera kind of drama.
Oh, absolutely.
You weren't here when Dad died. Punch. Okay.
What's going on? Are you guys fighting? No, honey, we're just playing around.
Don't worry.
Go back inside. I won't care about you because you're going to be dead in 10 minutes. So that's another problem is season 3, despite being the third in the series, starts off in the past before the zombie uprising has occurred. Why they're doing that, I don't know. It feels like what are we doing back at the start? We've come so far. And again, if you're going to introduce us to a new character, I want it to be very layered psychologically. I want him to have experienced some shit. I don't like how he was just weirdly accepted as a leader, and he hadn't proved himself throughout this whole...
So, you mean within your group?
Yeah, so the way this works is you pay $25 and you get episodes 1 and 2. And then eventually... From that $25, you also get 3, 4, and 5, which are unconfirmed release dates. Mm-hmm. When you buy it right now, you get 1 and 2. Episodes 1 and 2. Episode 1 is 40 minutes long, maybe.
Yeah.
And episode 2 was an hour and 15, I felt like. Something like that.
They felt really long to me.
Really?
I felt please
well, yeah, because
God
you weren't enjoying
over.
it. Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it.
But I'm just talking for a value.
Oh yeah.
For what you're paying for, and I know that's very subjective. There are some great games like one was Dear Esther that came out a while ago. It was like a 2-hour game. It was like $30 or something, but it was a fantastic game, and you felt like you got something incredibly rewarding out of that. This ain't one of those games. It breaks my heart because again, I have such a vested interest in the growth of Clementine as a character, and all of a sudden in this one they're like, well, we're just gonna put Clementine to the side, and you're just gonna watch her do stuff. What the fuck? I don't want to do that. I spent like years of my life building up this character. And then they're saying at the very beginning, like the other Walking Deads, whatever choices you make are supposed to then carry over to the next episodes. None of that happens here. All the stuff I chose to, besides spoilers, I chose to make Clementine go by herself at the end of season 2, so she shows up by herself. That's it. That's the only thing that carried over.
Oh, so if she had gone with somebody, she would have shown up with other people?
That's what I've read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I just started from scratch because I didn't have any save data, and it was just, I wanted to try, like, what if somebody is like, oh, I've heard so much about Walking Dead, I should play those, which is kind of what I was coming into it as.
Yeah.
Could you come into it? And you could. Yeah, but I didn't give a crap about the main character, and that doesn't seem like it had anything to do with the previous episodes. It's just like new character guy.
No.
And you do get, the first introduction to the new character guy is kind of backstory for him, but it's not really backstory. It's just about how he found out about zombies and where he was at the moment that everybody's like, holy crap, zombies. So you didn't learn anything about him because you're already, in the moments that you have with him, you're already making choices for him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And I learned I wanted to punch the creators of the game.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you now jumped into the future where you're leader of your pack, I guess. And
well, your pack is like you have
family.
2 stepkids, and you're with your brother's stepwife.
No, brother's wife.
Brother's wife.
But it's not her kids.
Yeah. So again, though, like there's not much of a connection for me there. It's like, so I'm with my brother's wife and his kids.
Which I don't even remember really seeing the brother's wife there. I guess I saw her once for a minute, but I didn't register that I thought she was a sister of the family. Anyways,
poor storytelling.
It is, and it's piss poor gameplay. So if your whole game is going to be storytelling, great. There's been text adventures that didn't even have to rely on any sort of graphics at all, and had a better game, had better story. You were invested in them. This is. Yeah. It's putting itself out there as a story game, and I was like bored to death. I felt like I was watching After School Special Zombie Apocalypse, and then they try to be super adult by introducing weed smoking in front of kids, and I was just like, okay, or swearing suddenly, or sudden death, and I was like, oh, it's like teenagers trying to play as adult game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a fan really at all.
So they also have this system that involves, like, if you do take a certain action, something pops up on the screen, and it says, they'll remember that. Either in an ominous way or they'll remember that in a very happy tone.
And I think that's a setting you can turn on or off. I read somewhere that it's going to even tell you that, but mine was just on by default, I guess, and I don't know.
Well, I just fucking assume they're going to remember everything I do. It's not like, why are you telling me? So again, in season 1 and 2, those popped up in very rare occasions, and they were pivotal. It was usually like, at the end of the story arc, there was a very, very massive thing that would happen. It'd be like, some really divisive decision, and they'd say that. And it was like, oh, I get it. Okay. That signifying what I just did was a huge deal. Mm-hmm. Not that I decided to have a Pepsi instead of a Coke. They'll remember that. I don't care.
So I kind of, reading about Telltale games all along, thought that there was a lot of choices that made different paths, but really
there were, I swear to God, just not in this game.
Did you look it up?
No, in the other games.
But did you look it up?
No.
It's 5. It's 5 places where it changes things.
Oh my God.
Maybe it was a different time. You're a younger person.
Yeah, they were good games. That's why it hurts real bad for me. Like, again, I know we're trashing this game, but I'm sorry. Like, I built this game up. This was part of my life. Mm-hmm. It's just funny because you'd think it would be me that's exploding on this. I was actually shocked that you had such a violent reaction to it. I thought it'd be the other way around, where you'd be like, it's okay, and I'd be the one like, flip the table.
I think maybe I'm not the person for these games, and I think that's another thing. I know some people are enjoying them, and that's great, but for me, I see, like, it's cringy, not good. I just expected more story. I expected more interaction. I felt like a lot of my choices didn't really matter. You know, I could have been just silent, and silence could have been fine. And then you finally get to the place where you make a decision between two different things.
Yeah.
And that changes things. And I came over and I saw your game and how yours had changed things a little bit. And that was kind of cool. Like, I could see playing it with a group of friends and then be like, what'd you choose? And I chose this. And I definitely really liked at the end of the mission, it shows you, how other people voted on those 5 pivotal points. And I thought that was kind of cool. But it's also kind of like taking a Cosmo quiz and finding out which bag is best and what other people thought. And
I appreciated they had, like, share your stuff online. Sign up for the Telltale series book club, wherever the fuck that thing was.
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of pop-ups about, like, buy more of our stuff, buy more Ovaltine in between, like, commercial break.
Yeah.
I saw another thing, too, in there where you could apparently play, and then other people could log on to what you're playing, and they would vote on how you would choose on the decisions. So I would assume this was for, like, a bigger YouTuber with a large following,
right?
A streamer. Yeah, so they'd play the game, everybody'd log on and be like, hey, choose this, choose that, which is kind of sounds cool.
That's a cool idea, I guess.
If you had a lot more cool stuff to choose. You know what I mean? It's like they're going to sit there for, like, 10 minutes and be like, hey, no, you should shoot her, or no, you should run away.
I only had that moment one time during this roughly 2-hour experience where I had to almost let the timer go down and decide what I wanted to do. One time. And it wasn't even really so much out of stress or out of emotion. It's more just like, which one would be more interesting? I guess I'll do this one. And I tried to kind of force the role-playing element because I didn't feel like the game was doing that well. So I was trying to actually take the time and put myself in the head of the character. Which wasn't easy because this ain't a relatable character.
Because you don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
He was maybe, like, the backstory on the guy was, I think he was a baseball player that got into gambling.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what kind of person he is, but apparently he used to be in sports. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm thinking baseball. I'm not sure that they even specifically said that baseball. And I think he gambled once because there's some sort of poker scene he comes into, and he's a little.
I lost that, man. By the way,
just went right over your head because it's subtle. The character development is so subtle.
Yeah, and I will say spoilers for anyone who even cares that there's a spoiler within a 2-hour time frame. The part that really pissed me off, and kind of was like, I don't want to play episodes 3 through 5, was you get to the New Frontier, which is the newest and greatest gang in the series. Before you get there, they talk about how Javi, whatever the hell the main character's name is, they've been traveling for, like, presumably years in this crazy van. They just keep driving and keep driving. I would imagine they've covered quite a bit of ground during that time. But hey, at the end of episode 2, you get to the town, you unlock the door, and it's your brother.
Dun, dun, dun,
Are you fucking kidding me? You've been driving across all the U.S. and just magically they Deus Ex Machina it so that your brother came back here and you meet up at the same time.
And he's the head of the big bad guys. And you're the little plucky get-together band of people that just can't get by. I think my eyes almost rolled out of my head. Like, it's just like, oh, it's my brother.
Yeah, I guess that was supposed to have some sort of impact, and like you said, it felt like,
And through flashbacks, I feel like you know more about the brother than you do about the main character, because he's like super douche and like all abusive to his wife.
Well, yeah, that part was shitty, but I don't know.
Oh, sympathize with the brother.
Almost more, just because, like...
At least he's somebody, I guess.
Yeah. I don't approve of that part of it, but just, like, I don't know. He's just trying to, like, make a living, I guess. But, yeah, no, these characters, or calling them characters is a stretch. They kill them off before he can even get attached to them, which is another failing that the first 2 seasons did very well, which was they would develop this group of characters, and when one person died, it was really hurtful because you had known them and you made decisions with them. Where this is just like, okay, character B dies. Now character C comes along. He has long hair, so we'll call him Jesus. Which I don't get, because in the show and in the comic books, there's also a character named Jesus. So I don't know if it's related. Were they just that lazy? They didn't fact check it to make sure they weren't crossing their streams? I don't know. Game's stupid.
I'd say there's a lot better ways to spend your time. Go watch 2 hours of Walking Dead TV. Read the comic book for 2 hours. Play any other zombie game. Or I don't know.
Yeah, it was rough.
I'm not a fan. And maybe, I think if some people, this is their thing, that's great. That's cool. But it is not for me.
I am curious to see how other fans, David Shea, I'm looking at you. That's right, David. I know you're watching. If you're not, you damn well better be. I'd be interested to know how they look at it after they play it. Weirdly enough, I did some research, I think you did too. The game's getting a lot of positive praise online. Maybe Rock, Paper, Shotgun didn't like it. A lot of other people did, so guess we're in the minority. Oh.
That's fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
My recommendation, if you haven't played a Telltale game, just run away.
Or just stay silent the whole time.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to actually try out the Game of Thrones. Did you play that one?
No. Didn't.
Because that's my, Walking Dead is okay. And I like the show, the comic, okay, they're fine. But Game of Thrones, that's my jams. That's my thing. So maybe that would be the one that would hook me in.
But see, that's my complaint is I didn't like The Walking Dead. Like, I liked the comic book. I watched part of the first season and got bored and hated it. Like, David Shea and a few other people said, you got to play Walking Dead Season 1. I was like, that's not my thing. I don't want to play that. And I started playing it. I was like, I don't even care. Like, the Walking Dead part was the least interesting part of that. It was the characters and the story and the emotional investment. I didn't even care it was Walking Dead. This one, presumably all they're marketing it towards is just the brand name recognition. Mm-hmm. What the hell? What happened?
Anyways.
Go play Pit People. That's great. We're going to review that one next. And so far, really awesome. In fact, in Pit People, there's a little thing comes up on the loading screen, and it's like, you know what this game needs? Microtransactions. Being funny. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry, guys. There's not a whole lot more to say about this. The game is just not that good.
It's only 2 hours, so,
Yeah, I'd rather, I don't know, take a shower for 2 hours or something, if you can afford that. Or watch a movie. Go see Silence. That was kind of an interesting movie. If you can find it anywhere. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The Walking Dead, Season 3, a Telltale farce game part, whatever it is.
A New Frontier, second edition.
You got to change your game names, guys. It's brutal. Anyway, thank you for tuning in and listening to us rant. Don't play The Walking Dead Season 3. Play many of the other games that are awesome, such as Darkest Dungeon, or Pit People, or pretty much anything else. Signing off, I am Chris.
I'm Bre.
Thank you. Good luck, and have fun.